Hi, Aries Rising Sign. Here is your weekly forecast starting on the 20th of May until the 26th of May. Your chart ruler Mars is like a motor driving the energy of the week basically. Mars is sitting in your second house, in the house of personal finance and self-worth, marching towards a volatile square with Pluto. So you're being forced to completely redefine how you build your resources, how you value your talent, how you manage your daily life. And with the nodal axis sitting at the final critical degree of your sixth house and 12th house, your entire matrix of daily health, unglamorous workflows, deep subconscious baggage is undergoing its final cosmic exam. So, Aries, I think you are a pioneer, the warrior, the trailblazers of the zodiacal signs. You thrive on action, speed, and fighting for your independence. But right now, the universe is putting a massive bottleneck right in your financial or daily operational sectors. From May 20th to 27th, we are standing on this massive cosmic landmine. The nodes of fate are sitting at the final critical degrees of your sixth house, the house of daily work and health, and your 12th house, the house of subconscious. So this week, the personal planets are going to trigger this axis like a cheap wire, forcing a final brutal audit on your everyday routines and old patterns of self-sacrificing, self-sabotaging behaviors. And to make things even more high stake, your ruler Mars is locking horns with Pluto in a very vicious power struggle over your bank account. So, but let me walk you through step by step. So on the 20th, we begin with the week on the 20th with that very supportive grounding alignment that acts like as an anchor to your nervous system. Mars in Taurus is making that beautiful sextile to Venus in Cancer in your fourth house. And you have got that stubborn drive here to build your personal wealth, to secure your independent income. Meanwhile, Venus is sitting in your fourth house, the house of roots and family, and brings you that emotional comfort. It's kind of like a bit of a backing. Maybe the family is backing you. They are motivating you of some sort. This is very good to invest in your living space, securing financial backing for a home-based business, for example, negotiate a massive rate increase with a client from the comfort of your home office, for example. It could be good to find or sell even a property as well. Somehow your voice carries immense material weight, and your home environment directly fuels your financial ambitions. So use this day and lead it to kind of like a winning position, really. Because after things are going to become a little bit more dramatic. Well, 22nd is the next day, really, when we have got five planetary aspects going on. So this is a super busy day, really. It's a high velocity day in the cosmos. It's targeting your local environment, especially your communication channels, as well as your personal identity. Well, Venus is making a trine to North Node. This is a beautiful green light to start, for example, a healing conversation, a spiritual and psychological wound that you are ready to, for example, to put down. Maybe this is a fated moment of deep emotional healing at home, a sudden intuitive realization that completely frees you from toxic daily obligations. This is about a great day to spend a bit of time alone, in solitude at home with your loved ones. Maybe this is about you being able to put down some karmic baggages, for example. Now, Mercury is in your third house, the house of communication. business, and media pitches. So Mercury is very articulated here, very much focusing on coming up with ideas and the logistics. And it makes that sextile to Saturn in the first house. So therefore, this is about signing legal documents, launching a local marketing campaign, lock down a writing contract, setting hard, kind of unshakable boundaries with people in your immediate circle. Maybe this is about having some tough conversations, for example, with your siblings, which can really go well, or even it could be business negotiations as well. Now, in the very same house, Sun and Uranus are making a conjunction. This is the very first one in 8 decades. And this is a lightning bolt to your daily environment, to your mindset. So it might be a shocking news from a sibling or a neighbor, a massive viral moment in your immediate media channels, or a radical flash of genius that completely changes, let's say, your business venture. It's about liberating yourself from old mental limitations, something that is getting blown apart here, an old way of thinking. Of course, that could bring certain type of disruptions as well, especially with Mercury going out of bound, where we stop caring about what we say. We stop caring about what others are saying. Still on this 22nd, Venus squaring Neptune. And this is a bit of a warning flag regarding how you project yourself versus what the private reality is. So you might idealize a domestic setup or let an old family pattern completely distort your current self-worth. This is not a time, for example, where we need to be making changes to our physical appearance, to our brand, or not even the home contracts, really. The fog is really thick here. This is about potentially even allowing our loved ones to kind of tell us who we need to become. And then you can feel torn a little bit that am I allowed to be that visionary person that I want to be? I have already mentioned Mercury going out of bound, but this is about a planet of communication going off the grid. So your ideas, podcast episodes, scripts, daily conversations are becoming more wild, more brilliant, completely outside the box. A complete, a total unfiltered approach to speaking and writing and how you process information. This potentially gives you a lot of mental energy as well. So if you are a content creator, for example, you might be recording a lot of videos, or you are going to be writing a book. Just you need to ensure that your tongue doesn't act as a weapon, because that could lead to certain type of destruction as well. The Sun then runs into a sextile with Neptune, but that's happening on 24th, and that's kind of lifting that personal fog that Venus kind of created with Neptune. And I think it allows you to see exactly how your radical ideas align with your authentic identity. But that then Sun on the 25th is making a square to the nodes. Meanwhile, your ruler, Mars, sextiles the north node and trines the south node. So this is a crossroad. The south node in your sixth house has made you heavily dependent on micromanaging your daily checklist, schedule, stressing over tedious operational data, playing the unappreciated fixer at work until your physical body burns out. But the sun in your third house is demanding you to look at the grander intellectual vision and change your environment, change the scenery. It says you cannot really use endless daily tasks to escape your deep spiritual evolution. Mars in your second house is helping you here, trining the south node, meaning your current tangible skills, maybe your stable earning power, are your greatest operational assets. It's about building up that financial security and then to step fully into that 12th house north node path, which is about intuitive surrender, deep rest, privacy, letting the universe handle the details. Stop micromanaging the daily grind, really. Sometimes you're going to have to be able to go with the flow. I mean, Aries, you love, for example, sports. And the sixth house is, I'm even going to do the sport when I'm not necessarily in the mood. And the North Node in Pisces teaches us that sometimes we need rest, sometimes we need the rest for the muscle to grow, right? So that's exactly the message here. Now we do have got the Mars, the big showdown, with Mars and Pluto square on the 26th. So most likely that's the most volatile day of the entire year. Because your chart ruler goes to war with Pluto retrograde. And that's a power struggle between your income, your money, your self-worth, and your social network, organizations, corporate platforms. You can feel like that you are just a part of the machine, for example, in the corporate world. And you might feel like that you are not being kind of like treated in a humanitarian way. You can get into arguments over money with a friend of yours as well, or you might feel like that your work is kind of like not appreciated by the salary that you are receiving. So Mars in Taurus is trying to stand a firm ground. It's trying to fiercely protect the financial autonomy. It's like when the government is trying to tell you how much money you can charge for your services. And then Mars is kind of like feeling like that I am being attacked. That's my freedom. That's my financial freedom that you are attacking. Pluto is demanding this revolution of how you associate with networks. It wants you to potentially think through your long-term potentials, your long-term goals as well. Um, yeah, I've been imagine, for example, a major group or a community platform who is kind of like try to squeeze your revenue, manipulating your pricing, control your financial venue. It might be a competitor who pops up in the industry. Thankfully, the sun in your third house is trining Pluto on the very exact day. So your escape hatch is your sharp strategic voice. It says, what's the point in getting into an aggressive financial standoff or in an angry kind of battle of wills? Instead, step back into your third house power. Use media presence, your local allies, your clear objective communication to negotiate the terms. Your true power lies in your brilliant marketing skills, your ideas, not necessarily in a shouting match. Now, Venus is squaring Pallas Athene in your first house on the very same day as well. And there is a bit of a domestic desire for peace and family comfort, but it's clashing with your personal boundaries. So, I mean, imagine that your loved ones are, crossing the line with you somehow, and you don't want to hurt them, but what am I going to do with that? And maybe they just get into your business, and then you are trying to protect yourself from that. Now, we had that intense warfare on the 26th, and then after the Sun in Gemini makes a sextile to Vesta. So this is very much about, yes, I'm going to be focusing on myself. I'm going to be focusing on my intellectual power. I'm going to be focusing on my self-development. I'm going to sign up for a course. I'm going to dedicate my voice, my contact, content, my writing, my business pitch to a very specific brand of mine. Um, it's a little bit of I'm gonna walk away from this mental kind of chaotic scramble, really. And I'm just gonna be, because you might be having a lot of ideas, especially with Sun and Uranus. And then Sun and Vesta says, yeah, I have to be focusing on one. That is more me. And these aspects are really important because all these planets are triggering the nodes are just a bit of an initiation for you because Uranus is going to next month come around and square in the nodes, and that's going to be a lot bigger. The entire week is an initiation for your financial independence and your spiritual peace of mind. every single high stake transit that are happening from that unexpected news or that brutal wallet standoffs of your ruler Mars squaring Pluto is showing exactly where you are holding all the toxic work routines, potentially out of fear or the out of fear of entering the unknown. And that's the North Node in the 12th house. And the universe is demanding that you clear out these daily chores of the past and then step into this quiet, intuitive kind of like mode. And then you start a rediscovering of who you are. Because next month Uranus is squaring the nodal axis, so creating that sudden disruptions in your daily communications, your mental health sectors. So if you do the raw internal sorting right now, June can bring you psychological and personal breakthroughs as well. So I really would like to hear what you think you have to be kind of like working on right now. But let's do a bit of a summary for you. I think this is a week when you actually can increase your finances a little bit. I think this is a week when you might become a little bit more satisfied with who you are. You need a lot of patience. You need to go after what you want, and you gonna have to be persistent about that. I think that's the Venus Mars sextile, and then Venus squaring Neptune, which is a bit of a caution there. Let's just be real. Let's not cross the borders. Let's not allow others to get into my business as much. And then Venus and North Node trine says that I can do this alone as well. I'm just gonna go with the flow rather than trying to control everything. Let's see how things are folding out. Now, the Mercury did the exact journey that I spoke about last week, like squaring the nodes, making that aspect to Neptune and then Pluto and so forth. And Mercury rules your south node. So the south node is in the sixth house. So if you're trying just to fix things up, if we are just living day by day, then the future is is ahead of you, but it's just going to become a dreaming. So therefore, it feels like that you're gonna have to study, you're gonna have to put faith into yourself. You're gonna have to maybe ask for advice from influential friends or people. Maybe you just need that motivation from them. So to know how to get there. So good luck, Aries rising sign, and I will see you next week. Take care. Bye bye.